Although it is now best known for its behind-the-scenes drama between its two leads, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane started the subgenre of the psychobiddy, or Grand Dame Guignol genre. It features a once glamorous older woman who becomes unhinged and terrorises those around her, and led to the career revivals of many ageing actresses cast aside by Hollywood, with opportunities to give scenery-chewing performances. One such film is Whoever Slew Auntie Roo, a British horror thriller from 1972 starring Shelley Winters and Mark Lester, who is best known for his leading role of Oliver Twist in the film Oliver. Hello and welcome to Enchanted Essays, where I like to analyse films and the art of adaptation before screaming my findings into the digital void. So, consider subscribing if you're interested in that sort of thing. The film follows Christopher, a boy abandoned at an orphanage with his little sister Katie, who keeps getting into trouble for his scary stories. They sneak off to attend the Christmas party of local philanthropist widower Rosie Forrester, a former singer living on the estate left to her by her magician husband. As the party goes on, Roo becomes more and more fascinated by Katie, due to her resemblance to her late daughter. As her mourning drives her into an increasingly desperate mental state, Christopher's imagination runs rampant as he rationalises her behaviour through the context of the fairy tales he loves, seeing her interest in Katie as something far more sinister. Shelley Winters' performance in this is fantastic. Her warmth towards the orphans compared to the cold head of the orphanage makes her genuinely sweet and inviting at first. She makes this character sympathetic and believable, but isn't afraid to make her threatening when she needs to be. The two child actors are good enough, but they're nothing like the performance of someone like Henry Thomas from E.T. either. Thankfully, their characters aren't irritating, so I don't mind following Christopher around for most of the film. The supporting cast is solid, but none particularly stick out above the rest. The story is pretty good, building up the mystery and suspense pretty well. The problem isn't so much the content of the story, but rather the way it's introduced to the audience and its dialogue. For example, early in the film, we learn that the titular Roo lost her daughter when she fell off the banister after Katie attempts to do the same, leading to a hysterical reaction. Personally, I think it would have been better to see this flashback later in the film, after Roo's hysterical reaction has created another mystery for the audience, and making it a payoff for later in the film. The children's introduction is also desperately in need of some show don't tell. I think it should have started either with the children being brought back to the orphanage after running away, or, even better, with Christopher getting into trouble for scaring the children with his retellings of Hansel and Gretel, making the comparisons to the fairy tale pay off, rather than hearing Christopher's narration of the story in his head for most of the film. Of course, there's also the fact that it would be very easy for Roo to just adopt Katie, with all of her money and social standing. Whilst they could have made a more convincing obstacle here, such as a term that doesn't allow the siblings to be separated or something, Roo's increasingly fragile mental state makes her desperate actions seem somewhat believable regardless of necessity. If you're a fan of gore and scares, don't go looking for it here. It's more of a slow-paced psychological thriller with a gothic setting by today's standards. It's by no means perfect, but if you want to watch an alternative Christmas film, or you like dark and imaginative retellings of classic fairy tales, then this might be worth checking out for you. I honestly didn't have high expectations going into this film, but I really enjoyed it. Have you seen Whoever Slew Auntie Roo? If so, I'd love to see what you think of it in the comments below. From what I see, the only people who have heard of this film are horror fans searching for obscure Christmas horror films, but I think this is better suited for a wider audience. As I said before, I post videos and video essays every week, most of which are themed to adaptation, movies and music, so feel free to subscribe if you like that sort of thing. Anyway, I have to go. I've got a few teddy bears that need decapitating. See you soon!